Catastrophic Necromancer Chapter 4395, A Body Closed to Quasi-Supreme. With the aid of a treasure, the will of the Origin Earth could temporarily hold off Little Tree's attacks, but it wouldn't last for long. This being was not a cultivator, nor a life form of chaos or ancient desolation. Its power was far too unique to wield the full might of such a treasure. Within a short time, the power of the treasure had already begun to fade, and unless the will had other tricks, the battle's outcome was clear. Little Tree, this guy has existed for countless years and absorbed the knowledge of many others. Be careful, he may have some other means. Don't rush to absorb him, wear him down bit by bit. Lin Moyu sent his advice to Little Tree, like an overcautious father. He also told Chaos Child, watch the Origin Earth's will. It feels like he still has something else up his sleeve. If needed, be ready to use purified water. Chaos Child responded, showing a projection of his own world before hiding it again, already prepared. Lin Moyu nodded, closed his eyes, and focused on fully controlling the world-burning fire. The fire continued to refine the domain, an unexpected and precious harvest far better than any powerful treasure. World-burning fire gradually spread into every corner of the domain, continuously sending information about the domain back to Lin Moyu. This domain created by the Origin Earth's world wasn't strong. In a few days, it would be completely refined. The domain itself resembled an eggshell surrounding the entire Origin Earth world. What's more, this domain didn't just have one kind of power. Lin Moyu sensed the domain and discovered it contained more than one kind of power. He quickly realized the will must have claimed more than one domain treasure and fused them together using its unique abilities. So this domain was bizarre, an amalgamation with multiple attributes. Yet the domain made from domain treasures wasn't a true domain, but more like a half-finished patchwork. Well, at least it's a feast for the world-burning fire, Lin Moyu thought. Each refinement advanced the fire. Afterward, if he refined other domains, the effect would only get better. Step by step, Lin Moyu waited patiently. In less than half a day, the domain shell wrapping the Origin Earth world began to crack under world-burning fire. Soon, the will would lose any domain support. Meanwhile, the treasure it wielded was reaching its limit under Little Tree's constant strikes. Even while attacking, Little Tree was absorbing Origin Earth, fusing new chaos, divine soil to fuel himself. As the fight went on, Little Tree's aura didn't weaken. Instead, he grew ever stronger. A day later, Lin Moyu finished refining the domain. World-burning fire, now stronger, returned as a rain of fire, pouring down on the will of the Origin Earth. In a sense, Origin Earth's will was a kind of soul, so it also could be burned. The will defended itself by forming a barrier of Origin Earth, blocking the fire. Beset front and back, it was growing desperate. Retreat wasn't an option. If it fled, Little Tree would soon control the Origin Earth, and it would never recover. Its only hope was to kill Little Tree, but clearly it couldn't. Victory seemed certain. Chaos Child remarked with ease, I said Fat Tree worried too much. This little will is nothing special. If this was the will of Chaos Divine Soil, then you might have to watch out. Lin Moyu said, he must still have something else. Even now, Lin Moyu didn't believe the Origin will could be so simply destroyed. Though the being seemed panicked, Lin Moyu, watching with the eye of undeath, saw its soul flame wasn't showing much fluctuation. That told Lin Moyu more surprises were left. Chaos Child didn't disagree. Don't worry, I'm watching, he won't get the chance. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, standing steadily on the Calamity Crossing boat, ready for anything. If there really was another card, it should appear at any moment. The Origin Earth's will was defending more and more weakly, close to exhaustion. Meanwhile, Little Tree's rate of Origin Earth absorption was growing more and more. Chaos Divine Soil was being fused, glowing with 9-colored radiance, strengthening Little Tree's resolve. Isn't he going to make a move yet? Lin Moyu frowned slightly. By now, the will should be acting, but there was no movement. Chaos Child wondered, maybe he doesn't have anything left. Lin Moyu shook his head. He does, I'm sure. Boom! Suddenly, a deafening roar came from the depths of the Origin Earth's world. Vast parts of it collapsed. Huge waves of Origin Earth kicked up, and from the deepest place, a giant beast made of Origin Earth charged forward. The will had acted, merging itself as a stream of light into the giant beast's body, fusing completely. I knew it. This beast had been hidden so well even Lin Moyu hadn't noticed. The giant beast radiated a powerful aura, stronger than any of the previous Origin Earth creatures. It must have been a formidable ancient desolation lifeform that once wandered here, whose flesh had not been eroded. Its fleshly body was simply too strong to be dissolved. That was bad news. Any being immune to Origin Earth was trouble for his defenses alone. Though its soul had long since perished, the Origin Earth's will had seized and occupied the beast's flesh, now fully controlling it. Not only did the beast have a powerful body, but it was now coated in Origin Earth, making it even harder to defeat. Chaos Child cried, "This guy's physical body is almost at quasi-supreme level. Why keep it hidden until now?" Lin Moyu replied, "It's too powerful. Using it exacts a price, so the will held off as long as it could. But there's another possibility." Lin Moyu's eyes flashed with intelligence. He had another, even more likely guess. Chaos Child asked, "What else could it be?" Lin Moyu didn't reply. "Get ready, it's coming." The giant beast charged with terrifying force, shattering the spatial array and even crashing through the shields Little Tree had woven from roots. It kept barreling toward Little Tree while the will erupted out from the body, turning into a streak of lightning aimed at Little Tree. The intent was to seize and erase him, taking his place. Chapter 4396, Purification, Purification. The Origin Earth's will's ultimate plan wasn't actually to use that giant beast body to kill Little Tree. Maybe from the very start, he never intended to simply kill Little Tree. He was 1/3 of Chaos Divine Soil, and Little Tree was the former Chaos Ancestral Tree, now 5/6 complete. What he truly wanted, all along, was to erase Little Tree's intelligence, seize everything for himself, and become the Chaos Ancestral Tree. The best way to do this was to suppress and injure Little Tree in terms of power, or even cripple him completely. But he had failed. With normal means, he couldn't even protect himself, let alone break Little Tree. His only option was to use the giant beast, sacrificing some energy to strike Little Tree physically, while at the same time attacking his soul in hopes of erasing it. Lin Moyu wasn't sure what gave him such confidence. Maybe there was another hidden trump card, but Lin Moyu didn't want to find out, and certainly didn't want Little Tree exposed to any danger. Just as the beast's body was about to crash into Little Tree, a peculiar world manifested, and the giant beast barreled straight in. This was Chaos Child's inner world. Chaos Child had long since been ready, prepared to serve as the ultimate shield whenever Origin Earth's will threatened Little Tree. By the time the Origin Earth's will realized, it was far too late. "Get in here!" Chaos Child shouted, and as the beast's body and the Origin Earth's will entered, he summoned forth a tide of pure water. The pure water surged over like a tsunami, brutal and direct, not caring who or what it struck. In the outside world, a little pure water would be far from sufficient. But in his own inner world, it was enough to drown any enemy. Pure water rejects all doubts. It can erase any will. As the saying goes, nothing lives in the purest water. No Tao or soul can survive it, not even supremes or quasi-supremes, let alone this beast and the Origin Earth's will. Seeing Chaos Child's forceful approach, Little Tree couldn't help but warn, "Be careful, don't waste too much Origin Earth." Pure water can purify everything, including Origin Earth. At this moment, the Origin Earth clinging to that giant beast's body accounted for a fifth of the entire Origin Earth world. That was no small amount. If it was all purified, that would dramatically reduce the final amount of Chaos Divine Soil fused, a major loss. Not worth it. Chaos Child replied hastily, "Relax, I'll be careful after all. I get a share of the Chaos Divine Soil. Watch how I take care of this guy." The pure water descended like a tsunami. Sensing its terror, the beast began to back away in panic. The Origin Earth's will, just flown out, shrieked and fled back in. "Retreat, retreat." The voice was harsh, sharp, and overwhelmed by fear. Right now, the will within the beast and the main will controlling the soul agreed. Pure water could not be messed with. Retreat was the only option. "Want to run? Not a chance." Chaos Child sneered. The pure water shot forward like lightning, leaving them no time to dodge. This was his world. He could rewrite the very rules, though usually he couldn't be bothered. Against these two, pure water alone sufficed. The water struck the beast's head, punching a massive hole, pure water flooding directly into its flesh. For the beast, so proud of its body, this defense was like tofu before pure water. A torrent of pure water surged inside, sizzling wherever it went. The beast screamed terribly. The will within its flesh was being erased. Unwilling, the beast roared and struggled, but there was nothing it could do. It had died long ago, its soul extinguished. Only the undestroyed flesh generated new will. But it was still dead. Its will couldn't detach from the body, and so pure water wiped it away completely. Had it been alive, maybe its soul could have fled, but now there was nowhere left to run. A piercing shriek. The Origin Earth's will burst out of the beast's body, meaning the pure water had penetrated even into the soul world. The will careened through Chaos Child's inner world, but he'd already sealed every exit. There was no way out. Seeing escape was impossible. The will drew all the remaining Origin Earth around itself for protection. Chaos Child scoffed. "If we were outside, you might get away, but in here, accept your fate. There's nothing you can do." As he spoke, a corpse covered in pure water floated nearby, a Supreme's corpse. Chaos Child pulled back the water, and instantly, the Supreme's terrifying aura poured out, blazing like a mountain. Chaos Child's phantom took form. He pointed at the Origin Earth's will. A Supreme's pressure slammed down on the will, hurling it aside and shattering the Origin Earth it had just collected. "Dive!" Chaos Child pointed again. A jet of pure water, like a lightning spear, shot through the Origin Earth's will. The will burst into pieces. Pure water exploded in turn, enveloping every fragment. Within the pure water, the Origin Earth's will was rapidly purified. It was clean, thorough, and left little Origin Earth harmed. The giant beast's body, too, was preserved almost entirely intact, its will erased. It was now a true corpse. The great battle was over. Chaos Child clapped his hands, grinning. "Master, didn't I do a fine job?" Lin Moyu nodded. "Very impressive." Chaos Child puffed out his chest. "Of course, this is my world. Whoever comes in lays down and plays dead." Little Tree snorted. "You say that now." Chaos Child was thick-skinned. There's always an exception to every rule. He brought out the beast's body, the remaining Origin Earth, and a bead. The bead was grayish-yellow, exuding a rich Origin Earth aura. After purification, the will had condensed into this bead. Little Tree said, "This is the essence of the Origin Earth, the true body of the Origin Earth's will." Lin Moyu asked, "What's it for?" Little Tree said, "This bead equals half the world's Origin Earth. It could create another Origin Earth world, but that'd be a huge waste." Lin Moyu said, "Fuse it into the Chaos Divine Soil." Chaos Child's eyes shined. "Yeah, hurry up, I'm waiting too." Lin Moyu eyed Chaos Child curiously. "What do you need Chaos Divine Soil for?" Chaos divine soil is necessary to nurture the chaos ancestral tree, but to others, it's just supreme grade spiritual earth, hardly irreplaceable. Chaos Child said, "My inner world's not perfect. Chaos divine soil can make it whole." Little Tree said, "With chaos divine soil, it might even grow another tree like me." Chaos Child corrected, "Or maybe birth a divine flower or divine grass." Little Tree said, "Or maybe nothing at all." Chaos Child replied, "I'm not sure why, but my instincts say chaos divine soil is crucial to me." As Lin Moyu listened, he sensed there was a deeper meaning in their words. It seemed the two little ones' sealed memories concealed some major secret. Chapter 4397, Everything Needs Time. With the will of Origin Earth erased, the entire world of Origin Earth had lost its master. It was just a matter of time before Little Tree absorbed all of it. He refined the absorbed Origin Earth in the Chaos Cauldron, adding wild water. Through fusion, it transformed into Chaos Divine Soil. Chaos Divine Soil is of the highest tier no matter how much Origin Earth there is. After fusion, only a chunk the size of a fingernail results. Even after draining the whole Origin Earth world, there would not be much Chaos Divine Soil left. And since some had to be given to Chaos Child, Little Tree's share was even smaller. Lin Moyu made a rough calculation. At best, they would get a single unit of Chaos Divine Soil. Compared to the sprawling web of Little Tree's roots, that was a pitiful amount. Of course, the rarer something is, the more valuable it is, but Lin Moyu felt it shouldn't be this little. He casually asked, "Is that really all the Chaos Divine Soil in existence?" Little Tree thought for a bit. Probably not, but it seems only this much is left. His memory was still incomplete, so his answer was uncertain. Chaos Child interjected, "I think I know a bit. Chaos Divine Soil can multiply. It's not a fixed amount." He wasn't certain either. Little Tree added, "Chaos Divine Soil isn't fixed in quantity. It can reproduce through some methods, but it's complicated and requires many conditions. For example, the precious soils we found earlier can serve as the foundation for breeding Chaos Divine Soil. They can be assimilated and over long years converted into Chaos Divine Soil, though the quantity decreases. There are other methods, some very slow, some with harsh requirements." Little Tree explained several methods. Lin Moyu realized the requirements were not just demanding, they were nearly impossible. The necessary treasures for those methods weren't just rare, he'd never even heard of most of them. Substitutes existed, but finding each would take endless time. Of all the methods, only one was relatively easy. Little Tree could proactively absorb chaos and ancient desolation powers, turning chaos power into Origin Earth, ancient desolation power into wild water, and combining with the Chaos Cauldron, fuse them into Chaos Divine Soil. All this method required was time. At Little Tree's current pace, it would take about 1 year to produce a single unit. That might seem slow, but given the rarity of Chaos Divine Soil, that speed wasn't bad. As Little Tree grew stronger, the pace would improve, but not dramatically. Lin Moyu whispered, "The rarer, the more precious Chaos Divine Soil is truly invaluable." Little Tree's eyes held a thoughtful look. "Though my memory is unclear, what I do recall is that Chaos Divine Soil isn't just the source of my power, it can be used in battle. I used to have quite a bit, but it was all used up. There must have been great wars in the past, possibly more than one." Both Little Tree and Chaos Child had been forced to split themselves to avoid calamity. Lin Moyu said, "Let's not dwell on the past, let's focus on the present. When the time comes, your old memories will return naturally." Little Tree nodded, "I understand." Chaos Child said, "No use thinking about it, the past is gone for good. What happened is over, I'm someone new now." Lin Moyu asked, "Aren't you ever tempted to finish what you couldn't long ago?" Chaos Child shook his head. "Nope, not at all. If I couldn't do it back then, I definitely can't do it now. A soft snort came from Little Tree, clearly dissatisfied with Chaos Child's answer. Chaos Child didn't care and urged Little Tree to finish merging the Chaos Divine Soil and hand over his share. Lin Moyu saw right through Chaos Child. Did he truly not care? Probably not. He just kept up the appearance of indifference. Otherwise, he wouldn't long for Chaos Divine Soil to improve his inner world. Chaos Child's inner world is his foundation. Long ago, he could nurture 9 Supremes and 9 Quasi-Supremes within it, a sign of immense strength at his peak. Now, seeking to perfect his world again, would he really be so indifferent? Lin Moyu mused to himself, maybe Chaos Child has regained some memories, but just won't say so. It seemed likely. Since Chaos Child kept silent, Lin Moyu pretended not to know. Though Chaos Child called Lin Moyu his master, he'd never treated Chaos Child as a servant, always as a friend, and with true respect. Little Tree continued absorbing Origin Earth, fusing Chaos Divine Soil bit by bit. That cup of wild water given by the Chaos Wild Ox proved indispensable. Without it, the process would have been far longer, requiring forging wild water in the ancient desolation. Fusion lasted more than 700 days. By the end, all Origin Earth had been absorbed and fused into Chaos Divine Soil. Ultimately, less than a single unit was produced. Little Tree gave 1/3 to Chaos Child and kept half for himself. Lin Moyu watched as the Chaos Divine Soil was absorbed into Little Tree's roots, wrapping securely around them. The soil's essence flowed along the roots, quickly spreading through Little Tree. His aura soared, not the temporary boost from earlier, but a true leap in power. Within moments, Little Tree reached the very peak of Chaos Realm Great Completion, just half a step from full completion. As the Chaos Ancestral Tree, and not an ancient desolation being, Little Tree needed domain power to reach full completion. Still, he didn't have to seek a domain. He had Chaos Fruit. By planting ripe fruit in Chaos Divine Soil, he could grow new Chaos Spirits. These spirits held both Chaos and Ancient Desolation attributes and could each evolve worlds. With enough worlds, they could fuse to create a domain. This domain was unique, usable only by Little Tree, and with it, he could break into full completion. The only issue was the limited amount of Chaos Divine Soil, which would slow the growth of new spirits. At this rate, it would take at least 10,000 years to fuse a domain, so only after 10,000 years would Little Tree enter full completion. Little Tree also needed time to recover his body, his level, and his memories. All required time. There was no rushing. It was the same for Chaos Child. Having received his share of Chaos Divine Soil, he would integrate it, perfecting his world. His Dao Garden and Dao Forest would benefit, perhaps eventually nurturing an existence like Little Tree. But that, too, would take immense time. There was no need for Lin Moyu to hurry. With a wave, he summoned a flame of undying fire, covering the enormous beast's corpse before him. This beast was incredibly powerful in life, likely pinnacle full completion. If he could revive it, Lin Moyu would gain yet another trump card. Chapter 4398, Shadow Desolate Bug. The undying flame blazed fiercely, engulfing the enormous beast's body. From a distance, it looked like an entire domain was burning. Lin Moyu asked Little Peng, but he didn't know the origin of the beast. There are so many species in Chaos and Ancient Desolation that even Supremes can't know them all, so it's normal that Little Peng's inherited memories couldn't identify it. After careful observation, Lin Moyu judged that this beast was from Ancient Desolation, not Chaos. Chaos and Ancient Desolation have different rules and vastly different environments, which is why their creatures differ in form. In Chaos, any being wishing to reach full completion must possess a domain. It's a fundamental rule, with even an exception like Little Tree, the Chaos Ancestral Tree. But Ancient Desolation doesn't have domains at all. In Ancient Desolation, there are no real realms, just true strength, and titles like realm or level are just a way to measure it. Creatures born in Ancient Desolation are born at least at Chaos Realm minor completion's strength at birth. With a little growth, they can reach Chaos Realm Great Completion. But even at Great Completion, surviving in Ancient Desolation is extremely difficult. Not to mention other dangers, even just the divine light of Ancient Desolation is enough to wipe out most beings. After countless years of evolution, most Ancient Desolation creatures that survive have battle power matching full completion. Only those powerful enough get to live long. This particular beast's body was almost beyond ordinary full completion. Even Origin Earth couldn't do anything to it. It had at least full completion level battle power, but no domain, clearly a creature of Ancient Desolation. It was because it didn't have a domain and wasn't quasi-supreme that Lin Moyu could hope to revive it as a reborn minion. If it had been a full completion expert from Chaos, the most he'd be able to do is use it as a bomb. Domains complicate everything. Attempting a forceful resurrection would attract Dao's attention. As the flames burned, the beast's wounds began to heal, and Lin Moyu sensed a soul fluctuation. A soul was reforming in the beast. This soul is weak. He felt the soul's feeble aura normal at first, since it had just started to condense. But what he meant by weak wasn't just the current state. The beast's soul was fundamentally weak, not much stronger than an ordinary chaos cultivator, and nowhere near a match for its flesh. An extremely powerful body, but a relatively feeble soul. It's unbalanced, but with such a mighty body, that's enough. Throughout Ancient Desolation, nearly all dangers encountered were aimed at the flesh. While the beast's soul was weak, its body was so powerful that it could dominate Ancient Desolation with ease. When anything reaches the extreme, it's terrifying. Take the Chaos Wild Ox. Its sheer size alone would frighten even Supremes. This beast survived attacks in the Desolation Path and got here due to its body. Origin Earth could do nothing to its body, but it could dissolve its soul, so its soul ultimately failed. Lin Moyu had analyzed the whole sequence. Once it revived, he'd learn its identity and gain a minion even stronger than other full completion beings. While pondering, suddenly the beast's reforming soul became unstable. After a third had come together, it stopped and began to tremble, looking about to vanish. At the same time, a strange will arose within the body. This supremely powerful body was birthing a will of its own. So fast. Lin Moyu was startled. Typically, for a body to develop will take millions of years. How had it happened so quickly this time? Unless the pure water hadn't finished purifying it, but that was impossible. He'd seen it all himself. With the soul unstable, reviving it as a minion was now impossible, and with a new will in the flesh, it immediately began to resist the undying flame. The beast's whole body shuddered, as if about to attack. Chaos Child, purify it. Lin Moyu called. Chaos Child immediately summoned his inner world and reclaimed the beast. A surge of pure water flooded the body, erasing the nascent will. With a light pop, the beast's soul shattered into fragments. Lin Moyu swept up the fragments, using his own soul power to probe them for information. Even though incomplete, the soul still contained memories. Perhaps something useful could be learned. At the same time, he wondered why this had happened. After a being dies, the soul disperses, but the true spirit may remain. Lin Moyu's technique uses the true spirit as a foundation to recall and reassemble the soul fragments, even from different points in time. For the spell to fail, the true spirit would have to be damaged or all soul fragments erased from all time. There were only two possibilities. Within the beast's soul fragments, Lin Moyu discovered a clue. He found a strange snippet of memory, blurry, from different viewpoints, and places not a memory the beast should have had alive, more like something picked up after death, as its soul scattered across the world. The memories showed palm-sized flying insects emerging from the blackness of the ancient desolation, drifting through scattered souls and devouring them. Ordinarily, souls dispersed after death are invisible, even the eye of undeath can't see them. But these flying insects could see and devour them, and not just the present souls, but even those from times past. Any soul they ate was erased from all time, never to return. Not even if you searched all of history could you reassemble a soul that had been consumed thus. That he could see this in the soul fragments meant the insects hadn't managed to eat every last bit. Some scraps had survived, and their memories of being hunted remained. Now that Lin Moyu gathered the remaining fragments, those memories resurfaced. As for the reappearance of will in the flesh, it was simply too strong. Lin Moyu guessed the flesh had reached nearly quasi-supreme level. If left alone, will would always be reborn. Only by completely destroying the body could that be avoided, but that would be wasteful and hard to do. At least for corpse explosion, a single chunk would be enough to blow up any full completion, being far stronger than the previous flesh pieces. Lin Moyu set aside what he needed, and the rest, after talking with Chaos Child and Little Tree, he had them divide. Little Peng nervously asked, "Can I have a piece?" He was a chaos being. Eating powerful flesh and treasures could help him evolve. Lin Moyu, of course, agreed one hunk would take Little Peng a very long time to fully digest. He then asked, "Little Peng, do you know of a bug that eats scattered souls, even souls scattered through time?" Before Little Peng could answer, both Little Tree and Chaos Child cried out in shock. Shadow Desolate Bug, Chapter 4399, The Terrifying Thing from the Tides of Space-Time. Shadow Desolate Bug. Little Tree and Chaos Child exclaimed in unison. Their reaction made Lin Moyu realize this creature was no simple matter. Little Peng, on the other hand, showed no reaction. Clearly, he had never heard of the Shadow Desolate Bug. He looked blankly at Chaos Child and Little Tree. His gaze naive, he now understood these two elder brothers were beings he absolutely could not offend, so he had been very well behaved recently. Now he perked up his ears, eager to know just what a Shadow Desolate Bug was. Lin Moyu asked, "You know about the Shadow Desolate Bug?" Chaos Child and Little Tree exchanged glances. Little Tree said, "You talk first, I'll fill in any gaps." Chaos Child nodded. Shadow Desolate Bugs are among the most troublesome creatures in ancient desolation. They're somewhat like shadow desolate beasts, almost like shadows of ancient desolation itself. Shadow Desolate Bugs can control time. They travel ceaselessly through every era, existing in every past moment. That's why they're almost impossible to find, let alone kill. They feed on souls, not whole souls, but the scattered remnants of strong beings after death. If that portion of soul is eaten, every trace of that being is erased from all times, and even the true spirit is damaged. Every appearance of Shadow Desolate Bugs spells big trouble for both ancient desolation and chaos. That's all I know. Fat Tree probably knows more, let him explain. Lin Moyu could tell from Chaos Child's look that he knew more, but was intentionally leaving it to Little Tree. Little Tree snorted, "If you don't want to speak, then don't speak, don't fill the air with fluff." Chaos Child chuckled, "You know more anyway, that's why I wanted you to say it." Little Tree continued, "Shadow Desolate Bugs rarely appear. Only when time and space are thrown into chaos, and cosmic tides rise, do the bugs appear. When Shadow Desolate Bugs emerge, they start searching for food, devouring scattered souls across ancient desolation, and begin to reproduce. This process lasts a long time, at least 1,000,000 years. When their numbers reach a certain point, they move from ancient desolation into chaos, continuing to devour souls drifting in the void. On the way, if they encounter living beings, they consume those too. Once, many races in chaos were wiped out by shadow desolate bugs, and many powerful beings were killed. After the bugs sweep through, at least a third of the souls in the affected regions are erased, true spirits shattered, and no technique can restore them. Revival is impossible. That last line was for Lin Moyu's benefit. Lin Moyu murmured, "So the shadow desolate bugs are like scavengers in ancient desolation and chaos, cleaning up stray soul fragments and incidentally wiping out unfortunate races too." Little Tree said, "That's pretty much it. In my memory, I fought with the shadow desolate bugs a long time ago, but I don't know how it ended. I probably didn't fare well and even suffered a bit, hence the feeling in my memory." He looked at Chaos Child. "You too, right?" Chaos Child didn't answer, tacitly agreeing. Lin Moyu asked, "So what happens to the shadow desolate bugs in the end?" Little Tree said, "Every time they move from ancient desolation to chaos, sometimes as a swarm, sometimes multiple swarms. In the end, they vanish at the edge of chaos, re-enter time itself, and disappear into the past. These bugs dwell in the time flows of the past. Each appearance brings devastation to ancient desolation and chaos. Both realms are littered with the souls of fallen strong ones. Many races have secret arts to try and revive their kin at the right moment, paying certain costs. But if the bugs devour a soul fragment, the true spirit is broken, and revival becomes truly impossible." Little Peng was astonished at this for the first time. "Wow, there are such things." Chaos Child said, "There's no end to oddities in ancient desolation. The bugs are just one such danger. There are even scarier things out there." Lin Moyu asked, "You fought them too?" Chaos Child sighed, "I think so, but my memory is unclear. I probably suffered too anyway. I really hate those things." Shadow desolate bugs can cross time, and their mastery over space surpasses nearly every race with space talents. They might even be able to breach Chaos Child's inner world, in which case he'd definitely have to engage them. "I wonder if my world-burning fire can deal with them," Lin Moyu pondered. The appearance of shadow desolate bugs meant a shift in the tides of past time at this point. They were still proliferating in ancient desolation, not yet having invaded chaos. Lin Moyu worried only about his own domain. Whenever the bugs came, they destroyed domains by the score. He hoped his world would be spared. He even felt an urge to return. His friends still resided in the 5-world domain. He couldn't let anything happen to them. Sensing his mood, Little Tree said, "Don't worry, Master. The time-space tide hasn't peaked yet, so the shadow desolate bugs haven't finished multiplying. You still have plenty of time." Each time when they invade chaos, they start with the 4 extremes. Only after passing through those do they enter the 3 realms. It'll be at least 10,000 years before they come to chaos. As the chaos ancestral tree, Little Tree's perception of time and space was keen. He had even fought the bugs before, so his intuition was solid. Lin Moyu asked, "Is there any way to stop the shadow desolate bugs?" Little Tree said, "Not really. When their numbers are small, full completion experts can still kill them. If there are too many, even Supremes have to avoid them." Chaos Child explained, "When their numbers reach a certain level, they combine into a queen who wields power beyond full completion, rivaling Supremes. At that point, unless a Supreme acts, you can't stop them. The best method is simply to avoid them. But their bodies are treasures. Each carries the power of space and time. If you can acquire a time-space pearl from a slain bug, you can gain insight into spacetime or craft top-tier treasures." Little Tree said, "Yet, for the sake of time-space pearls, many have died. It's not worth it." Chaos Child countered, "Regardless, those pearls are priceless, especially for enhancing your domain." Little Tree replied, "No treasure is worth your life. Dead is dead. Nothing else matters." Their conversation made Lin Moyu realize that both had regained a good deal of memory, but had an unspoken agreement not to discuss too much. He didn't press since there was a reason for their reticence, and besides, with his current power, knowing more would be meaningless. Once the beast's body had been divided, the Calamity Crossing boat set out again, heading for the great formation that Catastrophe Supreme had left in Ancient Desolation. Chapter 4400, Ancient Desolation Gold. This went smoothly enough. This time, Little Tree's recovery of the Origin Earth was fairly uneventful. The will of the Origin Earth only made some minor trouble, nothing serious. Once split into 6 for certain reasons, Little Tree was finally whole again now. It was only a matter of time before he regained his peak power. How strong his peak is, Lin Moyu does know, but judging by Chaos Child's attitude, it has to be at least not weaker than the Supremes. After all, Chaos Child's inner world once nurtured 9 Supremes. Maybe they're not quite equal to real Supremes in Chaos itself, but the difference can't be that much, and if Chaos Child is at that level, so must Little Tree be. The title Chaos Ancestral Tree isn't for nothing. He's the strongest tree in all Chaos, the ancestor of all trees, hence Ancestral Tree. Little Tree possesses, in addition to battle power, all sorts of innate abilities and talents. Lin Moyu looks forward to Little Tree's return to full power. It should enhance his own innate gifts as well. Already with Little Tree's improvement, Lin Moyu's rebirth limit has soared. He now has 5,000 extra lives, and the number is still rising with no end in sight. Soon it'll reach 10,000, maybe even more. With so many new chances at life, he's become extremely confident. But at the same time, Lin Moyu has become aware of new dangers. For example, the Shadow Desolate bug can invalidate his spells, devouring scattered souls not only from the present, but all points in the past and future, destroying both soul and true spirit. If he ever faces the Shadow Desolate bug, he must be extremely cautious. His extraordinary rebirth is not without roots, and if his soul is devoured in every timeline, taking the true spirit with it, his rebirths might be rendered useless. The perils of Chaos and Ancient Desolation. Once again, Lin Moyu has glimpsed just the tip of the iceberg. Chaos and Ancient Desolation have spoken to him in their own language. These places are truly perilous. Besides the known dangers, there are many unknowns. Consider the unnamed giant beast, whose physical body had nearly surpassed the limit of the Chaos realm, frighteningly close to the supreme level, yet it still died. Not only did it die, but after death, it was chopped up and eaten by others. There's no such thing as absolute safety in Ancient Desolation, not even for a Supreme. A Supreme is just a Supreme of Chaos, not of Ancient Desolation. Lin Moyu thought of what Catastrophe Supreme once said. They all ventured into Ancient Desolation to defy Tao, even though as top Supremes, even he, after 2 expeditions, found that there are dangers in Ancient Desolation that even they cannot be sure to survive. For a moment, Lin Moyu thought even with the Calamity Crossing boat, absolute safety isn't guaranteed. After I find the Great Array, I'll leave, he decided. He took out the cause-seeking ring. The ring glimmered faintly as always. Whether in Chaos or Ancient Desolation, the ring's appearance didn't change. He activated it with his soul power, effect without cause. Lin Moyu plants the fruit for himself, ensuring he'll find the Great Array Catastrophe Supreme left in Ancient Desolation. As always, the cause-seeking ring retaliated fiercely, and Lin Moyu was instantly blown to pieces. Purple light shimmered, he was reborn. Again and again, Lin Moyu revived. During these rebirths, he experienced endless backlash from the ring, an agony not just of karma, but something higher. He'd carefully analyzed this before, but didn't understand. After seeing pure water, he suddenly realized that the cause-seeking ring's power, its backlash, was on the same level as pure water, above the rules of Chaos's Great Tao. It is a force of karma, higher than the karmic Great Tao itself, a wonderful power. Only someone fearless of death could use the cause-seeking ring. Any supreme would have to be extremely cautious. After dying 18 times, the backlash faded, the ring glowed, and the fruit was set. Lin Moyu instructed Little Tree, "Let's look for a desolation path." Little Tree understood and began searching. With the cause-seeking ring, the fruit had been set. The first desolation path Little Tree found may not be the closest, but it would be the correct one. Soon Little Tree locked onto a desolation path, and the calamity-crossing boat flew toward it. Desolation paths crisscross all of ancient desolation. Used well, they save colossal time. As the calamity-crossing boat roared ahead, Lin Moyu quietly watched the warped space outside. The force of the ancient desolation path beat against the boat loud, but not damaging. Sometimes, however, a bit of raw power would still leak in. The boat, damaged in an ancient battle, was not perfect. Lin Moyu felt these intrusions and had the thought to repair the calamity-crossing boat. "How can I do it?" he asked. Chaos Child replied easily, "Simple, just get a piece of ancient desolation gold." He answered so quickly, Lin Moyu was sure his memories had recovered even more, though he refused to admit it. Lin Moyu pressed on, "What is ancient desolation gold?" Chaos Child said, "It's a unique material to ancient desolation. The calamity-crossing boat is so tough because it's fused with ancient desolation gold." Lin Moyu continued, "Where do you find it?" Chaos Child shook his head, "No idea. It's extremely rare, never seen it myself, just heard of it." Little Tree added, "It's said that at the deepest part of ancient desolation, on a certain vein of desolation, ancient desolation gold can be found. But that's just a legend, no one ever found it, certainly not in my memory." "How do you get to the deepest part?" Lin Moyu asked. Little Tree shook his head. "You need a specific desolation path. It's dangerous, and even supremes can't guarantee their return. Even with the calamity-crossing boat, there's no guarantee of safety." Chaos Child commented, "The innermost ancient desolation is considered a forbidden zone. Even if you want to go there, Master, don't do it now, wait until you become a supreme." Lin Moyu nodded, "Understood. I'll make the trip when there's a chance, no point letting the boat stay broken, and I'd like to see how tough it could get after the repair." Chaos Child muttered, "Even then, it's just an artifact." He seemed a little disdainful, as if however strong the boat became, it would never match him. That might even be true, but Lin Moyu didn't reply and kept watching the desolation path. He faintly sensed that if he could unveil the pattern of all desolation paths, he might unlock the greatest secret of ancient desolation. Perhaps ancient desolation and chaos, together, hid a world-shaking secret, something beyond even Tao, perhaps the ultimate mystery of all existence. But he knew his power was not nearly enough to uncover it, yet. Passing through desolation paths time and again, decades went by before Lin Moyu finally neared his goal. In the void, dozens of giant beasts were gathered together, looking grim and ready for a great enemy. Chapter 44:01, 1 versus 100. The giant beasts were massive, blocking out the sky and sun. Though there were fewer than 100 of them, they obscured everything from view. Each beast radiated a strange energy that interfered with Soul's sense, preventing Lin Moyu from perceiving what was beyond them. Retreat. With a thought, Lin Moyu decided to withdraw and observe first, no matter what the situation was. Compared to these beasts, which were like small domains themselves, the calamity-crossing boat was as insignificant as a speck of dust. Despite the boat's sudden arrival, the beasts took no notice. Little Peng whispered with caution, "Father, these are domain beasts, formed from domain fragments or seeds. They have a talent for blocking soul sense, and their strength and defense are both astonishing. They also possess a mysterious power not recorded in my bloodline memories." He explained that, unlike the chaos races, most ancient desolation creatures tend to be solitary, with few social species. Domain beasts are one of the rare group-dwelling creatures in ancient desolation, and they have two origins. One is the domain seed. Ancient desolation holds many domain seeds which drift aimlessly. Some drop into chaos, and under its great Tao's influence, evolve into domains. Others, under the power of ancient desolation, become domain beasts. The second origin is domain fragments. When a full completion expert in chaos dies, their domain shatters and fragments drift far and wide. Fragments staying in chaos might eventually coalesce into a new domain, while those reaching ancient desolation might, after many years, become domain beasts. Both paths ultimately yield domain beasts, but there are big differences between them. Domain beasts from seeds have complete roots and are individually the strongest, easily reaching full completion combat power or even exceeding normal full completion beings. Domain beasts from fragments are less powerful but far more numerous, as each shattered domain leaves many fragments. Thus, there are many more fragment-derived beasts than seed-derived ones. Nonetheless, in essence both are still domains. When gathered, domain beasts form groups. Ordinary creatures of ancient desolation avoid them, though exceptions occur like now, as the domain beasts confront a formidable foe. The Calamity boat retreated far enough for Lin Moyu to finally see the cause for their alertness. A cultivator. Lin Moyu frowned. It was a full completion chaotic cultivator. Though he seemed puny next to the gigantic beasts, his aura faintly suppressed nearly 100 domain beasts. Among those beasts, over 10 possessed full completion level power. The remainder, though weaker, weren't far behind. One would expect the lone cultivator to be intimidated, but it was the domain beasts who looked anxious. Lin Moyu peered further and spotted the corpses of several domain beasts in the void, with various magic treasures orbiting and apparently refining them. Little Peng explained, domain beasts are pure domain power. Refining them enhances one's own domain. Looks like that guy is hunting domain beasts. He's either highly skilled or extremely daring, unafraid of all those foes. Chaos Child asked, should we go around, Master? Lin Moyu shook his head. We can't. The place we're headed is right there. There's no way around. The area behind the battling cultivator was exactly where Lin Moyu needed to go. Catastrophe Supreme's hidden formation was there, now the site of a battlefield. This clash had gone on for some time. Scars in the void from repeated space shattering and mending proved it. A dozen or so times wouldn't have left these marks. Hundreds, or perhaps thousands of breaks and repairs must have happened already, each making the scar deeper. While Lin Moyu was pondering, the cultivator acted. Hands together in a sword gesture, in a flash, blazing light illuminated the void. Go! With a low shout, tens of thousands of rays shot out, transforming into sharp arrows that rained on the beasts. The domain beasts roared in unison, releasing terrifying auras. As pure domains, their powers intertwined, forming a continuous wave that multiplied their strength. It was like a surge of domain force. A sea of phantom domains rose to meet the arrows. Both sides unleashed everything from the start. The cultivator activated magic treasures without pause, each unleashing different attacks against the domain beasts. The beasts' auras wove together, forming their own battle formation, which made them even stronger. Shockwaves from the battle continually shattered the void, leaving scar-like marks. Seated in the Calamity boat, Lin Moyu listened to the roaring echoes. If not for the protection of the boat, he would have needed to flee billions of miles to avoid being obliterated by the aftershocks. Lin Moyu had fought several full completion level foes, but never had he seen anyone as powerful as this cultivator. This man was holding off close to 100 domain beasts, over 10 of them full completion level, with strength that, while maybe not quite at absolute peak, could rival the 3 divine phoenixes. The struggle was evenly matched, but the cultivator appeared relaxed, as if he didn't even consider the 100 domain beasts a threat. More importantly, Lin Moyu noticed that part of the man's attention was on refining the dead beasts. He wasn't using his full strength on the battle itself. With each domain beast killed and absorbed, the rest only grew more agitated, but could do nothing to stop him. Still, the beasts didn't give up. They lashed out with wave after wave of attacks, blasting the void. Lin Moyu watched, fascinated. Such a scene was incredibly rare. At last, another domain beast was refined into nothing, and a sword flew back to the cultivator's hand. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. The sword's quality was extraordinary. Its presence made him feel danger. As soon as the cultivator took hold of the blade, his aura changed. From a mere user of magic treasures, he became a peerless swordsman. That almost supernatural sharpness, Lin Moyu had only seen it in his elder sister before. Scrouge. With a roar, the sword's light exploded. The cultivator unleashed a dazzling strike, slicing open the void. A few beasts screamed and were driven back, blood spurting through the air. Ha ha ha, the cultivator laughed, collecting the blood and a few chunks of flesh with a casual wave. Fire blazed the blood and flesh instantly roasted. A wine gourd flew out, and in an instant, rich aroma filled the air. Even Lin Moyu, miles away in the boat, could smell it. Chapter 4402, The Wine Sovereign. Amid hearty laughter, fine wine poured from the gourd and was downed in one gulp by the cultivator. In that instant, a rich aroma of wine filled the void, seeping even into the soul. Not even the calamity-crossing boat could block it, and Lin Moyu felt for a moment as if he might be drunk himself. This wine is extraordinary. And not just the wine, the gourd, it's a domain treasure. To store wine in a domain treasure, Lin Moyu found this remarkable. A man who loved wine so much he'd nurture a domain treasure just to hold it. He didn't have only one domain treasure, his sword was one too. That meant he had at least 2 domain treasures. This also revealed just how powerful his domain was. Domain treasures are not easily produced. Only those with extremely powerful domains can nurture more than one. Suddenly, little Peng cried out, "I know who he is." His shout was a bit slurred. He was clearly affected by the wine's fragrance and almost seemed tipsy. Lin Moyu flicked a wisp of world-burning fire onto little Peng, giving his soul a jolt of pain. He snapped back to sobriety. "Who is he?" "If I'm not mistaken, that's the wine sovereign." "Explain." Lin Moyu pressed for details. Little Peng said, "The wine sovereign comes from the upper region of the 3 domains. He's an ancient and powerful full completion cultivator. I don't know how long he's lived. My bloodline memory goes back tens of millions of years, and at that time, he was already full completion and extremely strong. He's obsessed with wine. His domain treasure is a wine gourd, and he has a sword, loving to fight and drink at the same time. This matches him exactly." Little Peng wasn't 100% certain, but such a person was rare in all of Chaos. Few could be mistaken for him. According to Little Peng, the wine sovereign was human and a top existence among full completion experts. He earned the title sovereign because he once fought a supreme. Back in those ancient times, the southwestern and northern extremes once jointly attacked the central domain, and the upper region joined in too. The supremes of the upper and central regions confronted those of the south and north, while none could oppose the supreme of the western extreme. So the strongest full completion experts of those domains fought together to stall the Western Supreme. The difference between a supreme and full completion being is vast, yet the wine sovereign's performance was dazzling. He alone held back the Western Supreme for several days, withdrawing only when another Supreme came to reinforce. Records say he was wounded, but not badly. To last several days against the Western Supreme and only be lightly injured speaks volumes about his strength. Some say the Western Supreme didn't give it his full strength, but regardless, that battle cemented wine sovereign's reputation. indisputably peak full completion. Wine Sovereign, sword in hand, fought and drank. His battle intent was stern. The previously evenly matched domain beasts were now being beaten back. Their blood and flesh flew as several were grievously wounded. His clear voice rang out through ancient desolation. "I'll only kill 3. If you insist on courting death, I won't be so polite." His words, though not murderous, sent chills of fear. The domain beasts, clearly sentient, seemed to hesitate. Yet they didn't retreat, continuing their assault. Unrepentant. Growing impatient, the Wine Sovereign swept his sword. Sword cuts the Tao. In an instant, the sword gleamed brighter than ever, shredding the void like torn cloth. Under its light, domain beasts screamed, blood-sprayed limbs flew. Lin Moyu was momentarily stunned. A sword that severs the Tao. It was exactly the same sword move his own elder sister used, just far more powerful, but unmistakably the same style. Could Wine Sovereign be related to my sister? He wondered if Lin Mohan had inherited this man's legacy, but reasoned the odds were slim. As sword light danced, the domain beasts fled. A protracted battle ended with a single sword. The void was left in ruins, wounds that would not heal for thousands of years. The aura of Wine Sovereign's sword would linger, and unlucky cultivators wandering this region might yet fall to it. Now there was another domain beast corpse in the void, a full completion level 1. Wine Sovereign took a swig and muttered, "Didn't know their limits, leaving earlier would have spared one more death." With a gesture, the gourd flew out, generating a strong suction that drew the massive beast's corpse inside. He shook it. A crisp splash was heard. Perfect for brewing wine, domain beast wine. Not the best effects, but tastes pretty good. His every word and action radiated cheerful ease. Taking another big swig, he set his eyes on the Calamity Crossing boat. "Little friend, had your fill yet?" It was as though the boat could not block the Wine Sovereign's gaze. Lin Moyu felt as if he was being seen through. He piloted the Calamity boat over, stopping before Wine Sovereign and bowing. "Junior Lin Moyu greets Senior." Wine Sovereign chuckled. "To enter ancient desolation in chaos, minor completion, even with a great treasure, you've got guts." Lin Moyu replied with a wry smile. "I truly didn't want to come, but answered the call of another. I had no choice." Wine Sovereign drank, his eyes shining, glancing behind him. "You came from Desolation Path for this array." To Lin Moyu's surprise, Catastrophe Supreme's hidden array had been discovered. He didn't let it show, but answered honestly, "Precisely, Senior. I came for that great array." Wine Sovereign nodded. "That array has existed for countless years. I noticed it long ago, but never managed to enter. It must be the work of a Supreme. I've always been curious. Would you share what you know, little friend?" His curiosity was evident, his request direct. Lin Moyu hesitated. "There are things I can't speak of, Senior." "Because someone forbade you to." Lin Moyu nodded and bowed. "Forgive me, Senior." Wine Sovereign said, "In that case, I won't force you. Instead, when you activate the array, would you let me observe? I won't enter, just watch." His tone was calm but unmistakably firm. Lin Moyu knew this was the limit, and he had little choice but to agree. To refuse again, Wine Sovereign would either act against him or at least defend this spot endlessly, blocking all progress. Lin Moyu could only accept. "If Senior wishes to watch, it would be rude of me to refuse." Wine Sovereign nodded. "Then let me finish refining these 2 beasts. There's no rush, is there?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "No rush, Senior. Please take your time." Chapter 4403, Forcibly Bestowing Karma. The Wine Sovereign produced a wine cup, pouring fine wine from his gourd. "I won't view for free. Take this cup as my thanks." Lin Moyu said, "Senior, you are too generous." The Wine Sovereign shook his head. "There is always karma. Others may owe me, but I owe no one." With karma involved, Lin Moyu had no way to refuse, so he accepted the cup. The wine sovereign said, "You can save this wine, drink it once you possess a domain." Before he could finish, Lin Moyu had already swallowed the wine. Instantly, the aroma flowed out from within Lin Moyu, and 4 domains manifested behind him. The 5 realms domain led the center, largest and strongest. Next was the great 1,000 world, slightly weaker, but still a true completed domain. The Science Dao and Mysterious Spirit domains were the weakest, especially Science Dao, which was just a sapling. The wine's essence spread through the domains, passing through infinite space, raising their auras on the spot. This stunned the wine sovereign, who exclaimed, "Little friend, you actually have 4 domains." Lin Moyu had not expected his domains to emerge. He didn't like revealing this, at least not yet. But since it was out, he acknowledged it openly. "Just lucky, senior. I only gained these domains by chance." The wine sovereign shook his head. "No need for modesty. Owning 4 domains isn't just luck or chance. You must be from the domains and should have undergone at least 5 ascensions when you broke into the Chaos realm." Lin Moyu nodded slightly. There was no point denying. Better to be open. The wine sovereign said, "To possess a domain at entry into Chaos means you are certain to reach full completion as long as you don't die. But to have 4 domains and 5 ascensions, you may even one day vie for the supreme seat." Lin Moyu said, "Senior flatters me. The supreme position is so distant." He spoke honestly. It was distant, but also inevitable. There should be 9 supremes in Chaos, and there was currently 1 vacancy. That spot was his to claim. The wine sovereign said, "All it gives you is qualification. There are many with that in Chaos, but whether you succeed depends on yourself. I have no fate with the supreme seat, but meeting you is fate, and since I can't help much, let me at least add a bit of karma." He tapped his gourd, and a tide of fine wine rushed out, flooding the void with fragrance so potent Lin Moyu nearly swooned. In the calamity boat, little Peng collapsed from just the smell, already drunk. The wine sovereign brought out another gourd, identical in form to his domain treasure, but not itself a domain treasure. It was golden, not green. "Collect." With a word, the golden gourd sucked up the entire ocean of wine, and he handed it to Lin Moyu. "This wine is yours, drink whenever you like. It will strengthen your domains." Lin Moyu knew this wine was unimaginably precious, a treasure for enhancing domains. All full completion experts sought ways to strengthen their domains. Such wine was priceless. This was a considerable karma gift, but forced onto him. Even if he didn't want it, he must accept. Lin Moyu was both pleased and helpless. It was what he needed, but the karma. An elder's gift cannot be refused. "Thank you, senior." There was no other option but to accept. The wine sovereign laughed. "It's not a gift, just binding a thread of karma. Maybe one day you'll help me." Lin Moyu thought to himself, is senior aiming for quasi-supreme? The wine sovereign was briefly surprised. "You know a lot. Did the supreme who sent you tell you that?" Lin Moyu didn't deny it. "I know a little, but not much. If senior is willing to discuss it, I am ear." He was polite. Someone who survived countless epochs and reached peak completion must know nearly everything, a living encyclopedia of chaos and ancient desolation, far richer than little Peng's bloodline memory. The wine sovereign glanced at the 2 domain beasts he was still refining. "There's still time, let's chat." With a sweep, he produced a round stone table, not a magic treasure, just a plain stone slab about 5 meters in diameter, loaded with dishes. Amused, Lin Moyu saw it was set as a proper feast. The wine sovereign said, "Best place to talk is the wine table. If there's wine, there should be food. This is much more practical than those tea-sipping poseurs." Lin Moyu nodded. "Senior is right. Wine's ready, pour for yourself the food. Here, help yourself. Let's eat and chat." As he drank and snacked, he said, "After full completion, there's only one path left, the supreme, but the number of supremes is limited. I tried for the vacant seat, but it was hopeless. Had I pushed, I'd be dead." If the Supreme path is closed, there's only one other road, Quasi-Supreme. Lin Moyu said, as far as I know, Quasi-Supreme isn't equal to Supreme. The Wine's sovereign retorted, who says Quasi-Supremes are lesser? Lin Moyu was momentarily lost, took a sip, then replied, that was just my own assumption. The Wine's sovereign sighed, maybe to Supremes, Quasi-Supremes seem lesser, but not to me. Lin Moyu immediately said, Senior, please enlighten me. The Wine Sovereign explained, Supremes are Chaos's most perfect beings, body, soul, power, Tao, all flawless, but none quite at the absolute apex, always a tiny step short. Becoming a Supreme has two prerequisites. First, the domain must be strong enough to leap from full completion to Supreme. How strong, there's no fixed standard, but in my experience, at least 5 times the power of a perfect domain. As for what a perfect domain is, do you know? Lin Moyu shook his head. Even if he did, he would have said no. He wanted a thorough answer from the Wine Sovereign. The Wine Sovereign, sipping, said, then let me explain in detail. He talked at length. Lin Moyu understood why he was so willing. The answer was karma. Every bit of knowledge, every piece of advice, was a thread of karma. Should the Wine Sovereign need a favor someday, Lin Moyu would find it hard to refuse. Of course, this was because the Sovereign valued Lin Moyu. For others, he probably would have sent them away. Listening, Lin Moyu's understanding of the chaotic cultivation system grew ever clearer. Chapter 44:04, Beauty's Fate. To become a Supreme, one must first reach the absolute pinnacle of the Chaos Realm full completion stage. To reach that pinnacle, one must refine their domain to perfection. That's what the Wine Sovereign called a perfect domain. But having a perfect domain is not enough. It only means reaching the peak of full completion, still far from a Supreme. If you want to be a Supreme, you need to further strengthen your perfect domain. Yet what makes a perfect domain perfect is that every aspect has already reached its limit. To strengthen a domain further, the only way is to compress its power. This is hard, even for domain lords. It demands that the domain lord's own power be strong enough. Even at the same full completion peak, domains can differ in strength. Those differences stem from the number of times one's power ascended when first achieving the Chaos Realm. That ascension is a qualitative leap of foundation for all future progress. If your foundation was weak, no matter how high you later climbed, collapse was inevitable. How many times can you compress your perfect domain? It depends on the number of ascensions at your chaos breakthrough. It's a simple truth, but most only realize it too late. Based on the Wine Sovereign's own experience, becoming a Supreme required compressing the strength of a perfect domain at least 5-fold. To do that, you needed to ascend 5 times when entering the Chaos Realm. That's why, upon hearing Lin Moyu had ascended 5 times and owned 4 domains, he was certain Lin Moyu was qualified to challenge the Supreme position. So when Lin Moyu admitted he was sent by a Supreme, the Wine Sovereign wasn't surprised. In fact, he thought Lin Moyu was being groomed for the throne. After all, that last Supreme spot has been vacant countless years, with each of the remaining Supremes coveting it, hence many wars. It's natural they'd want their own followers to take that place. The Wine Sovereign drank and ate, telling stories as if reminiscing rather than giving a lecture. Lin Moyu realized, if he wanted to become a Supreme, apart from cultivation, he'd also have to survive assassination by the other Supremes. Catastrophe Supreme had friends and plans, but certainly also enemies. His chosen path would be full of hardship. The Wine Sovereign said, my domain is perfect, but compressed just 4 times. That's why when I tried to become Supreme, I failed. I know I'll never make it, now my foundation's inadequate. But chaos always offers another way, so I forged a new path striving for Quasi-Supreme. Quasi-Supreme is also a type of Supreme. You could call it an imperfect Supreme. But quasi-supremes also have their advantages. Take the Chaos Wild Ox. For example, he's one. His physical might already surpasses most supremes, only in soul does he fall short. In a fight, it's a 50-50 split. If I ever become a quasi-supreme, next time I meet the Western Supreme, I'd definitely give him a few sword slashes, let his blood soak my wine. So a quasi-supreme is an imperfect supreme. If the flesh, soul, or Tao reach a supreme's level, you're quasi-supreme. Some quasi-supremes even surpass supremes in certain aspects, and can match them in battle. Lin Moyu asked, Senior, your chosen path, is it the sword Tao? Becoming quasi-supreme through sword mastery, though lacking in body or soul, one's attacking might alone would trouble any supreme. The wine sovereign laughed, can't say if I say it, it won't work, but I'll tell you it's not the sword Tao. Lin Moyu was surprised. That sword strike against the domain beasts was so fierce, I thought it was your path. The wine sovereign smiled, I am good with swords, but that path is already taken. To tell the truth, I learned that blade from someone else. Lin Moyu's heart gave a thump, surprise grew on his face. The sword Tao is already taken. The wine sovereign replied, what's strange about that? Her sword was the truly peerless one. Back in the day, even supremes retreated before her. Unfortunately, beauty's fate is brief. He didn't elaborate, heaved a long sigh, and looked full of regret. Lin Moyu's heart was turbulent. He forced himself to keep his expression calm, sipping wine. That phrase, beauty's fate is brief, made him instinctively think of his elder sister. All memories of Lin Mohan flooded his mind. He recalled how, in a small world, he'd obtained a sword arrogant and powerful with everyone, yet obedient and meek with Lin Mohan. When Lin Mohan drew her sword, one slash split the heavens, the next tore open earth. Now, it was clear that was her sword Tao. No one had taught her those moves. Her sword belonged to herself alone. Matched with the wine sovereign's words, Lin Moyu was almost certain the tragic heroine mentioned was his own elder sister. With curiosity, he asked, Senior, I don't use a sword, but am interested in swordsmanship. May I hear about that quasi-supreme who walks the sword Tao? He wanted to hear more about this female quasi-supreme, and also to guide the conversation away from the wine sovereign's own path. A glint of nostalgia shone in the wine sovereign's eyes. That was long ago. Chaos then had 9 supremes. The thrones were full, so everyone else could only aim for the quasi-supreme path. She became a Taoist at that very time. There was a supreme disciple who also studied the sword Tao. The two vied for the quasi-supreme title, but the disciple was no match, defeated quickly. Hurt, the disciple's master the supreme shamelessly intervened, trying to block her ascension. But she broke through on sheer sword intent and became a quasi-supreme. Not only that, she immediately struck back at the supreme. Those who offend me must be taught a lesson. The wine sovereign's face filled with remembrance, reliving the past. Lin Moyu was ever more certain this was his sister. The personality was just too alike. He pressed further, and what happened then? The wine sovereign answered, the supreme sealed the battlefield. No one but her and a few other supremes knew what happened. But in the end, she was unharmed, and the supreme went into hiding. Everyone knew the result. She left behind a sword, her proof of the Tao, so that all could understand. But her strike was so powerful, few ever grasped it. After many years of sword study, I gathered only a trace. Sadly, the wine sovereign sighed. No one knows when it began, but she suddenly fell. No one knows why. Such a brilliant soul, and yet, sighed, truly beauty's fate is brief. Chapter 44:05. She probably doesn't like that title. As the wine sovereign reminisced, he couldn't help but sigh between drinks. Yet even this sighing had a trace of carefree spirit. In his long life, there weren't many things worthy of such reflection. That quasi-supreme of the sword Tao he spoke of was one of those few. It was easy to imagine. In those days, the wine sovereign was likely a bit of a fanboy of that quasi supreme. His words, astonishing talent, said it all. Lin Moyu asked, what was that quasi supreme's name back then? The wine sovereign replied, after so many years, few still know her name. Back then, she fought the supremes head-on, letting the world know that quasi-supremes were no weaker than supremes. At that time, everyone respectfully called her the Great Sword Sovereign. The three words Great Sword Sovereign carried clear reverence in the wine sovereign's tone. Even after countless years, this once supreme full completion expert still respected the Great Sword Sovereign greatly. But Lin Moyu had a feeling that his own elder sister probably wouldn't like that title very much. For some reason, the name just didn't sound quite right. But with Lin Mohan's personality, even if she disliked it, she likely wouldn't bother correcting anyone. A name was just an external label, it wouldn't have bothered her. Lin Moyu commented curiously, Great Sword Sovereign doesn't sound all that pleasant. The wine sovereign suddenly laughed. That's not important at all, titles are just labels after all. Lin Moyu pressed, if she reached such a height, why did she suddenly fall? The wine sovereign took a drink and said, no one knows. With her strength, even two supremes together could barely kill her, so her death was extremely odd. I think there must be a hidden reason, but back then my cultivation was too low to investigate. That said, some people did investigate. Full completion experts skilled in the Tao of Time tried rewinding chaos itself, but they found absolutely nothing. It's an unsolved mystery even now. But I believe, even if the Great Sword Sovereign really fell, with her power, her true spirit must still exist, and one day she will return to chaos. Lin Moyu did not reply, but thought quietly, she may already be back. Lin Mohan was most likely the Great Sword Sovereign reincarnated. If so, it explained everything. Once, Lin Mohan had been an associate in Catastrophe, Supreme's Circle, a participant in the entire grand plan. With her disposition, after learning of Tao's existence, she'd have refused to accept it. But she wasn't reckless, unwilling or not, she wasn't the type to throw her life away. So maybe, back then, my sister wasn't killed, but committed suicide to reincarnate. This theory now seemed almost definitely correct. According to the Wine Sovereign, the Great Sword Sovereign's power was already at Chaos's very peak, no less than a supreme. In all of Chaos, except for Tao itself, almost nothing could kill her. Her sudden death was most likely self-imposed. In the distant sky, colors shifted as several treasures naturally flew back. The two full completion domain beasts had been fully refined, nothing left but bones. All their essence was taken up by the Wine Sovereign. He needed vast domain power to attempt his quasi-supreme breakthrough. The Wine Sovereign put away the wine table and clapped. All right, my final preparations for quasi-supreme are finished. Once I watch you enter the array, I'll be on my way. This trip to ancient desolation, besides the domain beasts, the biggest gain is meeting you. To be honest, I don't know why, but when I look at you, I see some of the Great Sword Sovereign's shadow. Maybe your future achievements will not be less than hers. Lin Moyu bowed. Thank you, Senior, for your blessing. If I ever succeed, I'll never forget your gifts of today. I also wish you a smooth Tao proof. May you reap as you seek. The Wine Sovereign let out a great laugh and gestured widely. Cheers, little friend. The fumes and mists in the void cleared instantly, and everything became transparent. A tiny crack danced in the ancient desolate sky, inconspicuous, almost unnoticeable. Such cracks are common, made by the breath of powerful ancient desolation beings, divine light, or collisions of powerful energies. As such, this crack is easily overlooked, but even so, it didn't escape the Wine Sovereign's eye. He'd known of this hidden array here for a long time, but could never break in. Over endless years, he'd studied array arts deeply. While not the absolute best, he was among the elite. But even with all his skill, he was helpless before this formation, which proved how high the setter's skills must be. He once tried brute force, but instinctively sensed danger and stopped. He concluded the array must be the work of a supreme, and not an ordinary one. Its purpose was something special. So he had watched over this array, waiting until he met Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu approached the crack. It was barely larger than a palm. His soul sense naturally reached into it. The moment he did, he sensed a familiar aura and saw a chaos rune inside. This chaos rune was the creation of Catastrophe Supreme. Only Lin Moyu could recognize it. Finding the rune confirmed, he had not erred. The next steps were simple. This was not the array's true key. The trick was to decipher the rune, reveal the array, then unlock it. He'd done similar tasks several times before. The rune was not difficult for him. He casually drew several chaos runes, combining them to form a tiny formation. This formation was the key. As soon as it entered the chaos rune, the rune began to tremble. The tremor intensified. The crack in the sky grew bigger. The great array was about to reveal itself. Lin Moyu stepped back quickly to give it space. The crack widened. The chaos rune expanded, holding the gap open. At the same time, a strange aura circulated within the rune, tightly sealed off, not leaking. Even Lin Moyu could sense it only through his connection to the rune. This was the primordial power of the origin bug. Catastrophe Supreme had gathered power absorbed by the cross-domain array and funneled it here, sustaining this chaos rune. Once activated, the primordial force would shield the grand array, making it undetectable to the Tao of chaos. Meanwhile, because the power would not leak out, it would not attract ancient desolation beings like the shadow desolate beast. Catastrophe Supreme's skill was truly profound. Even the Wine Sovereign couldn't sense the primordial force within the rune. The Wine Sovereign watched as the chaos rune cracked the sky open, slowly revealing the great array. He couldn't help but exclaim, "What incredible skill! The cultivation in array arts of this supreme must surpass the art itself." Chapter 44:06. You didn't disappoint me. The Wine Sovereign's meaning was clear. Catastrophe Supreme, just through array mastery alone, could already be considered a quasi-supreme. The amazement in his eyes was obvious. In his view, a supreme is perfect in every aspect, their understanding of a particular Tao having reached its peak but not yet surpassed the Tao itself. A quasi-supreme, however, would have surpassed the Tao in the path they cultivated, though other aspects remained imperfect compared to a supreme. For a supreme, perfection is the peak, the ultimate, with no further progression possible. That is not the path of a supreme. But what he saw in front of him overturned his understanding of supremes and the Tao. Amidst his awe, he muttered, "How could such a supreme set up this kind of formation? It shouldn't be possible." Lin Moyu asked, "Why do you say that, senior?" The Wine Sovereign promptly explained his doubts, and Lin Moyu realized the problem too. The Wine Sovereign's confusion was something Lin Moyu had never considered. From all appearances, there were only two possibilities. Either the Wine Sovereign misunderstood the Tao, the Supreme is perfect, but not beyond the Tao. Or the person who laid this formation wasn't just Catastrophe Supreme, but at least had another quasi-supreme who'd surpassed array mastery. However, looking again, the formation was clearly the work of a single person, Catastrophe Supreme. If there were traces of another, Lin Moyu would have noticed. So only one possibility remained. Catastrophe Supreme, in terms of arrays, had surpassed the Tao and become a quasi-supreme. Quasi-supreme and supreme in one being, is that even possible? Both Lin Moyu and the Wine Sovereign were left pondering, but facts spoke for themselves. The Wine Sovereign was well versed in arrays and also saw that this grand formation was the work of a single person. He couldn't help sighing, "Perhaps my understanding is too shallow. Supremes can also be quasi-supremes. Supremes are not the limit." Lin Moyu fully agreed. Supreme is not the end. Above even a quasi-supreme, there is still the Tao. But clearly, the Wine Sovereign hadn't reached that stage. When Catastrophe Supreme made his arrangements, the Wine Sovereign wasn't strong enough to even be considered a pawn. Lin Moyu's thoughts differed. While the Wine Sovereign marveled at the Supreme, Lin Moyu wondered just how many methods Catastrophe Supreme possessed. At the time, Catastrophe Supreme had experienced 9 ascensions and was the strongest among Supremes. Yet, he seemed to have pursued other avenues simultaneously. Perhaps his skill in arrays was even higher than Lin Moyu imagined. What he had seen might not be all there was. The Wine Sovereign saw Lin Moyu's contemplation and thought he was strategizing about how to break the formation. He didn't interrupt, just silently waited. After living for countless years, patience was his greatest virtue. Waiting a few hundred years was nothing to him. In his eyes, even spending centuries breaking this formation would be normal. If it were left to him, even thousands or tens of thousands of years would not be enough. The complexity of this formation was above anything he'd ever seen, completely beyond his skill. But after a brief pause, Lin Moyu stopped pondering. He knew just thinking would never get him the answer. If you wanted answers, you had to reach Catastrophe Supreme's level, then you might understand. No sense in thinking more, let's begin. Lin Moyu shook his head gently and began to draw chaos runes. The Wine Sovereign hadn't expected Lin Moyu to act so quickly and was stunned. He wanted to ask, "Are you really ready?" but didn't wish to disturb him. Lin Moyu skillfully drew Chaos God runes, one after another, assembling small arrays. Then he combined 10 small arrays into 10 larger ones. Watching Lin Moyu shape the formations, the Wine Sovereign felt a hint of familiarity. The grand array Lin Moyu set up was different from the one before him, yet there was an intricate connection. The Wine Sovereign sensed Lin Moyu's approach was correct. He could indeed solve the grand array. Lin Moyu's array skill was astonishing, far beyond what his cultivation level should allow. The Wine Sovereign could only say, a Supreme's chosen successor truly was extraordinary. After he'd finished one formation, Lin Moyu didn't stop, but pulled out ingredients, refining them into array discs. He kept building arrays, making each into a disc 5 arrays in all. Satisfied, Lin Moyu arranged the 5 discs in front of him. Done. The Wine Sovereign asked, "Little friend, your array skill is truly impressive." Lin Moyu answered, "Senior flatters me, arrays are all I know, nothing else." The Wine Sovereign laughed with great ease. "No need for modesty. I already said, with your talent, you'll certainly become a Supreme one day. Even if not, Quasi-Supreme is easily within reach." He now valued Lin Moyu even more. The young man's performance in every aspect was flawless. Lin Moyu set the 5 array discs flying to the grand array's 5 corners. Activating, they locked into place like chess pieces. The Catastrophe Supreme's grand array suddenly came alive, radiating colored light. An invisible force struck Lin Moyu, and in an instant, he vanished, reappearing inside the array the next moment. This force originated from primordial power. Even the Wine Sovereign didn't react in time. Catastrophe Supreme's foresight was meticulous. This array could only be entered by the one who broke the code. No one could follow behind. The Wine Sovereign immediately understood, choosing to stand guard outside and protect Lin Moyu. Entering the array, Lin Moyu found the inner world utterly changed. The real core could only be seen from inside, not out. He carefully observed the core details, every trace showing Catastrophe Supreme's hand. 12 great arrays, all power gathering here. No, not just here, there's another place. The 4 extremes and 3 domains make 7 arrays. Add 4 cross-domain arrays, 11 arrays in chaos, all power focused here. But the grand array in ancient desolation was the final keystone of all 12. Yet even so, Lin Moyu noticed that some gathered power also flowed elsewhere. Although Catastrophe Supreme was cautious, he couldn't hide it from Lin Moyu. At one core area, Lin Moyu pressed down on an inconspicuous spot. At that same moment, a drop of his own blood fell into his palm, transforming into a chaos rune instantly. He vanished, passing into the final, true core of the array. A voice rang out beside his ear. "You really did find it. You didn't disappoint me." Chapter 4407, You are different, very different. The core region of the formation hid another space. If Lin Moyu hadn't been so familiar with Catastrophe Supreme's methods, it would have been nearly impossible to find. He understood this was Catastrophe Supreme's safeguard. Even a Supreme would have trouble discovering it. Attempting to force, it would cause the grand formation to self-destruct. When the array self-destructed, all the primordial power gathered over countless years would detonate at once. This was power beyond the fourth level. A small amount was negligible, but if amassed, not even a Supreme could withstand it. Catastrophe Supreme was confident no one would try it. Any Supreme would sense the danger in advance and give up, just as the Wine Sovereign had done before. Moreover, Catastrophe Supreme had allies. He was never alone. The plans laid over eons had always been methodically progressing. Upon entering the true core, Lin Moyu heard Catastrophe Supreme's voice while observing his surroundings. All around, clusters of mist floated, each about 10 meters in diameter, like a skyful of stars, their numbers beyond counting. They looked harmless, but inside each was a reserve of primordial power. Each cluster's explosion would be enough to kill a full completion cultivator. Here, there were at least hundreds of thousands. Lin Moyu sensed the space teemed with spatial energy. He guessed it was divided into countless subspaces, each a giant warehouse for primordial power. If all this primordial power detonated at once, never mind full completion experts, even Supremes, would be forced to flee. Countless ages of accumulation. You're trying to turn quantitative change into qualitative change, he sighed, looking up at a statue within the formation's void. Here, too, stood a faceless statue, Catastrophe Supreme. Seeing it again, Lin Moyu felt strange. The featureless face seemed Catastrophe Supreme's last act of respect to Tao. With a scraping sound, the faceless statue turned toward Lin Moyu. "What do you think?" Lin Moyu shook his head. "It's probably not enough, but I know you must have another move in reserve." Catastrophe Supreme laughed. "I knew you'd see through it." Lin Moyu said, "That's because you never intended to hide it from me. Now let me ask, do you really think it's enough?" Catastrophe Supreme was the only one to have fought Tao and knew its strength best. Catastrophe Supreme didn't answer, which in itself was an answer. He wasn't confident. He lowered his voice. "The fact you found your way here means you must already know something. How are those two coming along?" "You mean these two?" Lin Moyu waved, revealing the phantoms of Chaos Child and the Chaos Ancestral Tree. He knew exactly who Catastrophe Supreme meant. Catastrophe Supreme spoke gravely. "When we searched through ancient desolation, we discovered that long ago someone had already fought it. We tried to trace back through broken time, digging through the erased history, and found clues. We attempted to seek those wiped out years, find the severed ages, and in the end, we found them. Once they were unimaginably powerful and ancient, but after an incident, they were injured, forced into slumber, unable to recover. We devised a method, and perhaps it will help them recover." Lin Moyu said, "So giving them to me was your method?" "Yes," said Catastrophe Supreme. "Find them a master, let them accompany that master's growth, retracing their old path. It's their only hope of truly recovering. But there's a cost. They lose their freedom, becoming bound to another's will." Lin Moyu said, "Everything comes at a price. That's karma, but what exactly are they?" Catastrophe Supreme shook his head. "That's not for you to ask. As their master, you should know better than we do." Lin Moyu snorted, "Don't you think you're gambling?" Catastrophe Supreme replied, Some things can only be gambled on. Take a risk, and you might win. Don't, and you're guaranteed to lose. Lin Moyu almost objected. If you don't gamble, you don't lose. But thinking of Dao, he realized not gambling meant certain defeat. Though the statue lacked a face, Lin Moyu felt it was smiling at him for understanding. He continued, one more question. You had reached the supreme limit. How did you become a quasi-supreme? Catastrophe Supreme burst out laughing. The primordial energy swirled like swaying stars. What's so funny? Lin Moyu asked. Catastrophe Supreme said, who says a supreme can't also be a quasi-supreme? Are they in conflict? Lin Moyu was briefly speechless. Catastrophe Supreme was right. Just because you reach supreme, why not take other paths? Rules are chains placed by others, why always obey? Catastrophe Supreme said, a supreme is the absolute of the chaotic Tao, the third level, ultimate perfection. A quasi-supreme is the imperfect peak. When you reach supreme, you'll see, the quasi-supreme path is also yours to tread. When I realized all this, it was too late. He had noticed me, and I never got another chance. Hide, learn to conceal yourself, break your shackles in one push. When you're near his level, plus what you already possess, victory will be within reach. Otherwise, it's almost hopeless. His strength you can't even imagine. He gets endless chances, you may only get one. But you might be different. Maybe you get more than one chance, maybe you get many. Too many sages lost everything on this road, too many. You are different, genuinely different. Lin Moyu listened intently. The details Catastrophe Supreme revealed were deeply significant. But his voice began trailing off, as if not wanting to say too much, yet wishing to convey something vital. Lin Moyu pushed further. How am I different? Catastrophe Supreme stopped his murmurings, then slowly answered, it's not time yet, it's not time. Some things you must sense for yourself. You are our hope, maybe our only hope. If karma is real, if destiny is real, maybe this time we win. Maybe we really will win. His tone was full of uncertainty. There was confidence, yet also hesitation. The defeat long ago had left a mark. Lin Moyu replied, at the very least, I'll do my best. Let's start refining the array. Some things I'll have to discover for myself. Here's the chapter ends. Incoming chapter analysis. The Will of Origin Earth had one final card. A giant beast, its body so powerful that even Origin Earth could not dissolve it, burst from the depths. This was a creature of ancient desolation, its flesh nearly at quasi-supreme level, its soul long since dead. The will seized it, merged with it, and charged. But Chaos Child was ready. His inner world opened, the beast plunged inside, and then pure water, a tsunami of it, water that rejects all Taos, that erases all will. The beast's body was preserved. The will was purified into a single bead, half the Origin Earth's entire power condensed. Little tree absorbed everything. Chaos divine soil formed, less than a fingernail's worth, enough to nurture the chaos ancestral tree back toward his peak. And Lin Moyu gained a corpse that could kill any full completion with a single explosion. But within the beast's shattered soul fragments, Lin Moyu found something disturbing. Memories of palm-sized insects emerging from darkness, devouring scattered souls not just from the present, but from every point in time. Souls consumed this way were erased completely. No revival, no return. Even Lin Moyu's infinite summon could not restore them. Shadow desolate bug. Little tree and chaos, child shouted in unison. These creatures dwell in the tides of spacetime itself. When the cosmic currents rise, they emerge, first in ancient desolation, then spreading into chaos. They devour the souls of the fallen, and when their numbers grow large enough, they merge into a queen with power rivaling Supremes. 1,000,000 years of fading, a third of all souls erased. And the spacetime tide was rising now. Lin Moyu had time, perhaps 10,000 years before they reached chaos, but his domain, his people, his friends, they would be in their path. The Calamity boat pressed deeper into ancient desolation toward Catastrophe Supreme's final array. But something blocked the way. Domain beasts, nearly 100 of them, over 10 at full completion, formed a wall of flesh and power, and before them, alone, stood a cultivator. His sword blazed, his wine gourd poured, and he laughed as he fought. The wine's sovereign. Little Peng recognized him, a peak full completion cultivator from the upper region, who once held back a supreme for days and walked away with only minor wounds. Lin Moyu watched as the sovereign's blade severed the Tao itself, a sword strike identical to his elder sister's. "That's not my path," the wine sovereign said later, over wine and food at a stone table in the void. "I learned that blade from someone else, the great sword sovereign, a quasi-supreme whose sword made even supremes retreat. Tragically, she fell." "Beauty's fate is brief." Lin Moyu kept his face still, but in his heart he knew. His sister had walked this path before. The wine sovereign had guarded this spot for countless years, unable to enter the array, but sensing its importance. He only asked to watch. Lin Moyu agreed. Karma was already owed. 5 array discs, chaos runes drawn with practiced ease. The great formation awakened, and Lin Moyu vanished inside. But there was another layer, a hidden core that even the wine sovereign could not see. Inside, a faceless statue turned toward him. "You really found it. You didn't disappoint me." Catastrophe Supreme's voice echoed through chambers filled with primordial power, hundreds of thousands of clusters, each capable of killing a full completion. Power gathered over countless ages, waiting. "What do you think?" the statue asked. Lin Moyu shook his head. "It's probably not enough, but I know you have another move in reserve." The Supreme laughed. "Who says a Supreme can't also be a quasi-Supreme? Are they in conflict?" The words struck like thunder. A Supreme was the perfection of the chaotic Tao, the third level. A quasi-Supreme was the imperfect peak, surpassing the Tao in one aspect while lacking in others. Catastrophe Supreme had done both. When I realized it was possible, he had already noticed me. I never got another chance. He gets endless chances. You may only get one, but you are different, genuinely different. Lin Moyu pressed, "How am I different?" The statue was silent for a long moment. "It's not time yet. Some things you must sense for yourself. You are our hope, maybe our only hope. If karma is real, if destiny is real, maybe this time we win." The ray is refined. The primordial power is his. Catastrophe Supreme's final secret, that a Supreme can walk the quasi-Supreme path, hangs in the air like a promise. But outside, the space-time tide is rising. The shadow-desolate bugs are feeding. And somewhere in the void, the wine sovereign is watching, bound by karma, waiting to see what Lin Moyu becomes. The question is not whether Lin Moyu can reach the peak. The question is, when he gets there, will he be strong enough to face what's waiting? If these revelations about quasi-supremes, ancient bugs, and the true nature of power have you hungry for more, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for Extreme Highlights audio novels. We bring you the most explosive moments from the novels you love, delivered straight to your ears. New chapters drop daily, so you'll never miss a beat of Lin Moyu's journey. Extreme Highlights audio novels, where stories come alive.